Let's talk football on The Informer, and the man who knows all about it is the man from Football Nation Radio, Athos Sirianos. European Champions League, a couple of games yesterday and today, and some interesting results.
It's all the talk at the moment, George, particularly what happened in Munich, where we saw the two sides from the final meet once again in Bayern Munich and PSG, knockout football, so plenty riding on this game. And Bayern Munich had won their last 20 Champions League games, unbeaten in the last 2 years in this competition, the reigning champions, and PSG didn't quite get the whole of their redemption, but they got a little taste when they defeated them 3-2. One Kylian Mbappe, the French World Cup winner, stole the show with a few goals, and they're going to be tough to beat when they return to Paris. That's
a very interesting setup now, because the French have done this before. Paris Saint-Germain has done this before. They've gone away and they've beaten sides like Barca and others, and then they've gone home, Parc des Princes, and you expect a terrific result, and they've been knocked over. Can the Paris Saint-Germain, which is now coached by Mauricio Pochettino, be a little more stiffer in their resolve and do something that no one saw coming, and that is beat the might of the German football in the biggest German team in the last 20 years?
Well, this would be a massive statement. I know they made the final last year, but for them to beat Bayern Munich or knock them out of the Champions League completely would open up the competition so much. And for me, it would be quite possibly their biggest win ever in the Champions League. They have 3 away goals, which is a massive advantage heading to the Parc des Princes. So all they have to do is not concede 3 or just get any type of result, and they will progress through to the semi-finals, and Bayern would be out.
I noticed that their former coach, who's now taken over the reins at Chelsea, has bounced along and done a very good job leading his side against Porto, and young Mason Mount showing his dexterity and his style and skill. And Chelsea, after what was a shock loss in the EPL to West Bromwich, has bounced back in no mean way.
Well, they did what they had to do. They defeated Porto, as many expected them to.
Yep.
The Premier League, though, is a very interesting competition for Chelsea at the moment. They're outside the top 4, and I'm sure they'll be looking to progress as far as they can in the Champions League, just in case they don't get that automatic qualification. So they still have a lot to play for across the two competitions that they're in.
Manchester City continued to do something that they haven't done in a while, and that is win their first game in these knockouts. Normally they've come up and had problems. This time round, first up, they've won 2-1 against Borussia Dortmund. Interesting result.
Quite controversial result too.
Yeah.
With their goalkeeper perhaps finding himself a bit lucky to not concede another goal. But the big fairy tale for Manchester City that they'll hope to realise is Sergio Aguero. He's retiring, and they're hoping to see him off with the Champions League. It's the one trophy he hasn't won at Manchester City. But they were quite fortunate yesterday that they did not leave the Etihad with the spoils shared with Borussia Dortmund. It is only 2-1, so they will head to Germany and have quite a bit of a task to do. But they're quite fortunate that they did get the win in the end, and it wasn't a draw, because Dortmund had the ball in the back of the net for a second time, albeit the referee ruled
and VAR didn't bother to touch it.
They awarded a free kick to the City goalkeeper, and I think the confusion was because
he blew the whistle.
He blew the whistle, and I think the player kicked the ball away from outside the box. So it was one of those things where VAR technically couldn't intervene, and
it didn't.
Yeah.
Now, the other game was, again, one of those results. The pundits had gone totally the other way, thinking that, hey, the European champions, Liverpool, are going to get through. They played Real Madrid, and what happened?
Real did what they normally do, and they won comfortably. They won 3-1. Still, again, Liverpool have been in this situation before against Barcelona, and they came back to Anfield, but it's a very different Liverpool outfit. They're not dominating games like they used to, and Madrid has actually improved that of side. It's them, Barcelona and Atleti Madrid, all within 2 points of each other in Spain. So Madrid do appear to be peaking and turning up the dial just at the right time.
All right, let's come home now. Let's talk about the A-League and some interesting results. We've seen a game played last night and ended controversially. There was a lightning strike apparently in the last 10 minutes or last 8 minutes of the game, and it caused the referees to decide to finish the game early, and yet though the players were still allowed out on the pitch and to do interviews and wrap up the game that really should have been allowed to finish, or stop immediately and take the players off if it's all about danger. Yeah, get them off the pitch. You don't want another lightning strike.
It was an extraordinary scene. Lightning struck one of the floodlights at Cogra.
Yeah, and reduce the lighting.
Reduced the lighting.
Yeah.
The referee noticed this straight away and called the game off. And the frustration came from the Perth coach, Richard Garcia.
Yep.
They were a goal down with a minute of normal time, but you'd expect there would have been 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time. And he basically said exactly what you alluded to earlier. If we have to call the game off, that's fine.
Let us play,
But why are we doing interviews post-game if we're being taken off for the danger of lightning?
The side that has led all year, Central Coast Mariners, continue to be at the top of the table. They're just amazing. Their consistency may not be the quality of their play each and every game, but by goodness, they've been enormously consistent, and they have found a way to win.
And they've stood up in big games.
Yeah,
We've seen teams like Western Sydney last week. They came at them. The game finished 2-2, but once the Mariners realised that, okay, we're on the back foot here, they shut up shop, they defended it very well. And in a lot of those 50-50 games, like their game against Adelaide, they came out on top. They perhaps got a bit of a reality check against Melbourne City, but in a lot of those games where you've expected the Mariners to perhaps go into their shell or wither away, that they've stood up and they've gotten a result, be it a win or a draw, and points go a long way in the A-League regardless of how many you get on the night.
Western Sydney Wanderers, though, augurs well for them. I think they have a side that could go into the finals, deep into the finals.
They've got a very good squad. They're quite defensively solid, but again, there are quite a few other sides ahead of them in the league. So I think they'll be one of those sides pushing for the bottom half of the top 6. But as you said, on their day, they can do just about anything. They're very good at keeping sides at bay. So if it's a scrappy 1-1 type of game, you can expect the Wanderers to kick on late, and they could cause a few problems should they make the finals. And
Sydney FC in that mode now, that winning mode that we've become very much aware of over the last couple of years. They won in difficult circumstances. They could have easily succumbed to Perth, but they didn't.
Well, Sydney FC, we know they're the reigning champions for a reason. They're the back-to-back champions for a reason, and they know it's a long season. They realise this, and I feel as though they're ready to peak at the right moment. They've got finals very, very soon. They're not a side who you'd want to meet in the finals, regardless of whether you're Adelaide or Central Coast Mariners or Melbourne City. Sydney FC know how to win games, and the likes of Bobo and Costa Barbarousas only need an inch or half an inch to make something happen. So
speaking of Melbourne City, they're playing Sydney at Leichhardt on the weekend, are they not?
They certainly are. Yes.
What do you make of that?
Well, the last time they met, City won comfortably in the end, albeit it was a bit tense on the score sheet. I'm very much looking forward to this game. It's a real dichotomy of styles. You've got City who just all-out attack, and
Ninkovic will be there from the beginning.
City's a type of team who can win a game in 10 minutes. They can score 3 goals, a few knockout punches, and you're gone. Whereas Sydney's a bit of a slow burn. That they want to play that sort of that boring type game, and they too can put you on the sword with a matter of chances. They only need 2 or 3 attempts on target to really put you away.
Let's talk W League, and let's talk more importantly the Matildas, because there are 2 internationals coming up, and some interesting news from the off the field, which will help, of course, not only the game but the Matildas to do what they do, and that is a long-term contract with Rebel. Football Australia and Rebel have come to an agreement, and they've signed an extended contract to support the Matildas in their international quest, and of course their opportunity to make the 2023 World Cup a meaningful one and a truly memorable one. And they're also going to support grassroots football. So pretty exciting to see a major sporting firm get right behind one of the, I suppose, one of the most exciting and women's teams that the whole country can get right behind.
Well, hopefully that can make up some of the difference of the 275 which they need to leave that long-lasting legacy. But speaking of the Matildas, they've got two very exciting games coming up in a few days' time, I believe, against Germany and the Netherlands.
Heavyweights, serious competition from two countries that know how to play the game.
Absolutely. Well, we won't see Ellie Carpenter or Amy Jackson, unfortunately, due to them not quite meeting the COVID protocols. So they will miss out, leaving two other players or giving two other players the opportunity to come into those games. But it's an interesting situation. Only European-based Matildas can qualify for this game due to them not wanting to bring too many from Australia and risking a whole lot there. And the first of those internationals will be taking place on the Sunday of the W League Grand Final. So there's quite a bit of football to look forward to over the weekend.
And the word is that the ABC's bringing the coverage to Australia, is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. So again, two big games to look out for. The W League Grand Final between the Big Blue. We've got Victory, who are coming off a 6-2 win in the semi-final, so they're incredibly buoyed. They've bowed out of the last two semi-finals. In 2018, it was Sam Kerr who scored a hat-trick and turned it on. And last year, it was that incredible, invincible Melbourne City side. So third time's a charm for Jeff Hopkins, and he'll certainly be hoping that once he's in the grand final now, he can walk away with the championship as well.
Well done. If you want to know any more about the World Game, Football Nation Radio, FNR. The man is Athos Sirianos, and you can catch him most mornings, 8 o'clock on FNR. You and Ed, or you and Nick, more often than not?
It's Athos and Ed, more often than not.
Oh, Athos and Ed, more often than not. Terrific stuff. All the best. Have a great weekend. Catch you next week.
Thank you. See you then.